Hey, how's it going? Today I'm going to play a couple games with Makani Tran's Arceus deck that he got day 2 with at Orlando Regionals. Makani is somewhat of a Arceus guru. He's always kind of playing crazy Arceus decks and usually does really well with them. And this is his take on it so far this format. It's just focused around Arceus and Vulpix as the main attackers, but we also have a Regigigas V-STAR here. Probably for against like Giratina V-STAR, can also one-shot a Chimpao. I'm sure the attack comes in handy a lot, and the V-STAR ability could definitely come in handy. I'm not sure if it's in there at all for that purpose, but if you find yourself in a situation to use it, I could definitely see that being really good if you can just discard the other threat on the bench and knock out the active, and if your opponent has nothing else set up to attack, you pretty much win. And Vulpix here, of course, has the Snow Mirage, attack 160, and you can't be damaged by any Pokemon with abilities next turn. And it's also a Shred attack, so it gets through like Mimikyu or anything. We have the Pidgeot and Bibarel engine to get whatever cards we want. I guess some of those cards could be Eri or Turo to heal. Our energy, of course. Mist Energy for Tina and Roaring Moon. And one interesting part about this deck is it has the Irida engine in it. He's running 4 Irida to, I guess, pick out the cards that you need for turn, like the exact cards you need, because probably between Bibarel and Pidgeot you can find anything else that you'd want. Yeah, we also have Radiant Gardevoir so that a Giratina can't knock out our Arceus V-STAR. And then the rest is just set up to make the deck run. Oh, and Medical Energy. That's kind of important with Vulpix, so that if your opponent can just like barely get 2 attacks together to just perfectly knock out Vulpix, or just barely knock it out, you can attach the Medical Energy, heal 30, and then they can't. Then they're like, oh, I can't attack, or I can't finish it off, and they might just concede. Yeah, this is the deck. Let's get into the games. Alright, so I tried to do like talk while recording the gameplay today, but I got to get better at it. I just kind of mumble to myself, and you can barely understand what I'm saying, and it's not very informative or interesting. But they get a typical Lugia start, and I'm just thinking this is basically a terrible matchup. It's usually not very good at all for Arceus, especially since they added the Cinccino's and you can't even cheese them with Judge Path anymore. Like maybe if I had Judge, but I don't, I'm using Irida turn 1. I'm going to get Vulpix Nest Ball. And I'm probably going to Nest Ball for... I was thinking about getting another Arceus, but Pidgeot's really good. It kind of is like what makes this deck work. And I can just like, you know, it lets me get extra cards. It's pretty good. So I'll just Trinity Charge. I can either do 3 to the bench or 1 to the active. 2 to the bench, or I could do just 1 to the bench. I don't know. I decided to go 1 to the active, 2 to the bench, because this hand doesn't have like the most amount of follow-up in it. And if they knock out my Arceus here, I wouldn't be able to get a DT, so I wouldn't be able to get out Pidgeot. But they basically had an insane hand. I really wish I had Judge there and I just judged them, but this deck doesn't play Judge, and we didn't do it, and they get out. They go from having 0 cards in the discard pile to double Archeops knock out my Arceus turn 1. This like already seems pretty bad. But there's still a chance, because they went down to basically a 0-card hand. They only have 1 Cinccino in play. That's like basically the only reason that I didn't just concede, is because with the 1 Cinccino, they can't hit into my Vulpix next turn, and that will give me some like follow-up to be able to hopefully have a turn to attach to an Arceus and just build up another threat. So just go with the 3rd water on the Vulpix in case like I have to Trinity Charge next turn or something like that. And I want to be able to do the full 160, because if they don't bench a Minccino for me to knock out next turn. I want to knock out one of the Archeops. And they promote their Lugia. And they get out one Minccino. I was really hoping they could only get out one, but they get out two, which is pretty unfortunate for me, because that makes it so I have to boss this turn and then bench a Vulpix, attach to it and build it up and just hope that they can't bench another Minccino next turn, or else there's almost nothing I can do unless they run out of energy. That's kind of like my only hope at this point. So they just swing. It seems like they knew they couldn't hit my Vulpix, but, you know, rather than just pass, they decided to just hit into it for 0. And I'm debating here whether I should boss up the Minccino with the gift energy or not. And I end up bossing up the one without the gift, and in hindsight, I should have definitely bossed up the one with the gift, so that, and hoping that they couldn't get a gift on their other Minccino that they're going to knock out my Vulpix with, and I could Iono them the next turn, and it could be more powerful and maybe stick. But with leaving the gift energied one for them to attack with next turn, it just makes it so they're going to have more card advantage. And I preemptively grab the water energy with the Pidgeot, and I do all that stuff on purpose before playing out any cards, because you kind of want to like leave your opponent guessing as to what you grabbed with your Pidgeot and your Starbirth. You don't want to let them know like you grabbed a card to hold on to. But they Iono, of course, and it puts my water to the bottom, which is unfortunate. And now I'm forced to Iono and just basically just hope that I hit either a water or Vulpix V-Star. And there's a few water in the deck, but we know one's on the bottom. And there's a couple Ultra Ball and a Vulpix V-Star, so there's not like the greatest odds that I hit it. It's probably like 25% chance that I hit one of them. Maybe it's more. Maybe it's more like 50 that I hit one of them. But we top deck another useless card, so that's good. We Iono, we hit Ultra Ball, that's a relief. Now I can just quick search for the water and take a knockout and just hope that it works out. And I decided to Ultra Ball away the double turbo because Turo could definitely be more useful. Like if they bring up my Arceus and hit it, and like just hit into it with Lugia, I'd rather get it out of play completely than just retreat it, and then they could boss again the next turn and just win. So I keep the Turo. I get my other boss off the prizes, that's very nice. And they send up their Lugia. I'm assuming they're gonna have boss here. Like it's pretty unlikely that they don't have boss or Serena. I'm not sure if they play Serena because I haven't seen one. But with how many cards they've gone through, it seems like pretty low odds that they wouldn't have a Gus card. But they just Iono. I don't know if they like chose to do that. And they don't bench a Lugia V, so that makes me wonder if they're just out of energy or they didn't think of it. But Lugia V does not have an ability, and I can't one-shot it, so they should have benched it and attacked into me twice, but they don't. And I just preemptively attach the Mist Energy to build up Arceus for next turn, because I want to just go boss, like boss the Flutter Mane, knock it out with Vulpix, and boss the Lumineon and knock it out with my Arceus V-Star, and win the game in 2 turns before they, like, I don't know, can come up with something to win. Or it seems like they're out of Mincinos, because they haven't really made much of an effort to get one out. It doesn't seem like, but maybe they're just whiffing it. And I debate putting down the Radiant Gardevoir just to like thin my hand out, but I can always do that next turn. I don't need to bench it. It's pointless, and I'll knock out the Flutter Mane and go down to 2 prizes. So now as long as they don't disrupt my hand, I have game with Irida for Prime Catcher and Pidgeot for double turbo, and they don't disrupt it. I top deck the Turo. I almost play it because I didn't realize right away. I kind of forgot that this deck had Prime Catcher in it because I'm used to playing Maximum Belt in Arceus decks. But I just Pidgeot first just to make sure that the Prime Catcher is in the deck. And I attach Arceus, Prime Catcher Lumineon, and we end up winning the game. Now that was a game that we probably should not have won I don't know, it's a really bad matchup, but I think our opponent kind of forgot they could attack with their Lugia V. A lot of people don't really think about that, so we ended up winning. And we do want to go first with Arceus decks. Or if we got someone that's in Master Ball already. We'll mulligan here. I wonder if everyone gets reset to Master Ball, or if it like knocks you back a certain amount of points. And he benched 3 Pokemon. We're going first. This always is like a weird risk, but I don't think he's gonna knock me out. We'll know exactly what he's playing, so I could just Nest Ball for another one if I need to. Yeah, never do this. There's like very, oh god. Well, we're not getting knocked out. There's very few scenarios that you're ever gonna want to put Pokemon down like preemptively like that. Alright, so let's see what we have. We prized an Arc V-Star. We also prized a Pidgey. We top decked the Pidgeot. Do we have our Bidoof? We prized our Bidoof, that kind of sucks. Prized an Irida. I think we prized an Iono. Yeah, an Iono. We have all of our water energies. It's all bench full picks. I have to save the Nest Ball to get rid of with Ultra Ball next turn. Yeah, pass. So I'm gonna have to Ultra Ball for Arc V-Star. Use the V-Star for probably Rare Candy. And I don't know what I'll get yet. Maybe Boss. Restart for 1. I always like the Mew in this deck. I don't think I've ever played it in there though. I've just been going with the lists that do well. Water, that's not what you love to see, but it's gotta go. We have no choice. Arceus V-Star. And I'm gonna get, yeah, Rare Candy and Boss. So it kind of looks like they're living off of their top deck. Quick search here for, don't really need that. I could just get this. Boss up their Mew. Trinity Nova. I just want to make sure that I'm not, is there a super out in this deck list? No, there's not. Yeah, we have one more left. We'll see how this works, I guess. We'll knock out their Mew, so now we're kind of hoping that there's not much that they can do next turn. We get Pidgey and Bidoof. One nice thing about Vulpix here is that it has a shred effect, and they concede. That's kind of what I was hoping, that knocking out their draw engine would make them concede, and it's an easy win.